What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm talking with Jacob Schroeder. Geez, man. This tongue-tied like a maniac these days. Jacob Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Crafted Food Services in Des Moines, Iowa. Jacob and I go back a few years. We've done some brewed food events together in the past. I'm excited to talk to you, my friend. How you doing today?
Doing great, man. I mean, aside from the looming anxiety that everybody is feeling right now with all of the chaos.
It's funny, we have to qualify that. It's like, it's almost set in as like, this is just the way it is, so get used to it. So when somebody asks you how you are, in the context of that's the baseline, you're doing okay. So it's funny how we ask that question obligatorily and then answer it in this awkward way, but that's the way it is. As always, a couple of housekeeping items. Go to the Best Served Podcast Facebook page, COVID-19 restaurant information thread. Tons of good information on there, resources, funneling a lot of the links and articles that are coming out of talking with guests on this show onto there. And that is hyper relevant for people as you're trying to navigate what the fuck is going on right now. So get onto that thread, comment with following so you can get notifications. Also, we have the hashtag 86 coronavirus virtual tip campaign where we're connecting hospitality industry professionals direct with virtual tips. A lot of it is leaning on the nonprofits we have worked with for years and years and years and put millions and millions of dollars into that ecosystem by our hospitality. It's time for that hospitality to get paid forward a little bit. So put your information, Venmo and PayPal on there, and let us direct connect you. All right, man. I'm excited to talk about hustle. When we were talking just before we got on this, hustle between you and I was dropped like 4 or 5 times because it's in us. And so I was thinking about you and some of how you already have a side hustle built in what you're doing. And yesterday and today I've been dialing up curry and French onion, and we have a little hustle going that I've mentioned a couple times, but I want to talk about it a little bit more because what I want to get out of this is to people to be able to think within our industry about how to sustain themselves during this time. And it's going to take some creativity and some side hustle. Sure. So I want to get into that, but let's go back a little bit to you. And this is very interesting. I want you to talk about not Crafted Food Services right now, but Workiva. Workiva is a place that you work in Ames, Iowa. And tell us a little bit about that in the context of working for a company like that, having worked in restaurants for so long, and kind of the difference in how you feel like getting investing in people. Give us a little background on that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the way that things have evolved since I worked there have been like, it was an amazing job to start with, but the way that they've adapted and evolved to make it more forward thinking, I guess. Like, we currently write all of our own menus. We change the menu every 3 weeks. And whatever station you're working on, you write your menu for, and you write your own recipes. And that keeps it interesting for us. It keeps us engaged, as well as it keeps the people that we're feeding engaged. That was a problem that we had. It used to be a quarterly menu change, and for the first couple of weeks, it would be crazy busy, and then it would kind of taper off, and then there weren't people, coming to lunch and eating with us. So we had to figure out what to do. We adapted to the situation, and now it's crazy awesome. So just from a creative standpoint, like, wow, that's amazing to basically be your own chef and do your own thing and make it work. But then there's also all the resources that come with, a IT company that's doing really well. There's all kinds of like continuing training classes that we can take, all kinds of opportunities to do all kinds of stuff just to better yourself as a person. And it's pretty freaking amazing.
So I want to get to the punchline, because this was crazy when I literally just assumed and went right to, so you're laid off now, and then what are you doing? And you said, actually, so give us that punchline, because amazing for a chef to be able to be in your position right now.
Yeah, I mean, so long story short, I'm getting paid. They're calling it disaster relief pay, and they're paying me for 40 hours, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. To get me through this. And that's kind of what Workiva's about. They're all about, I always say, think of like a Google company. You can bring your pet to work. You can bring your kids to work. You can leave your desk to go play in the arcade or go lift some weights or just even go for a walk. But yeah, there's only of all of the people that work there, the 400 people that work in the office in Ames, there's only 3 teams who are hourly. Everybody else is on salary, and they're all able to work from home. We can't work from home. The facilities team can't work from home, you know? So I think because we are also kind of the crown jewel in the company, that's what people talk about the most as far as amenities go. They love us. They love the cafe, and they want us, you know, to be taken care of because we take care of them and enriching their daily work experience pretty extensively. It's nuts to see when we take a day off, we're all given, each team is given a team outing day. So we take the day off from work. And when the cafe team does that, nobody comes into the office. Everybody works from home because there's no lunch. We're not getting anything for lunch. So
you can't get fed.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious how much they love us and how much they want to take care of us. So going into this kind of, we obviously it escalated really quickly, but had no idea what to expect. Yeah. And now it doesn't surprise me because that's just the way that the company is. But it's amazing. It's unbelievable. And so I feel bad because I know I am so connected with so many restaurants and restaurant people, and it's like my restaurant family, you know, and they're struggling right now. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm putting every cent that I can into gift cards and eating out and doing my best to support local places and stuff. Because it's like, you got to make the best of the situation. Right now, I don't have any overhead, so got to spread the love, got to keep it going. I'm worried, man.
Yeah. Talk about the feeling as a chef, because here's the thing. And you said there's like a little bit of guilt there, and I totally understand that. What I'm more interested in is the fact that you're working for a company that's investing in people. And it's a challenge that we've had so often in our industry. And there's animosity brewing always. And we've seen labor shortages and things like that manifest because I don't believe it's a labor issue. It's a culture issue at mass scale, kind of being exposed. And so that feeling of just being invested in and cared for, an expectation that I'm guessing you as a chef did not expect.
I came back knowing that I wanted, because I lived in Denver for a while, for like 5 years, and got kicked around a bunch of restaurants, and I love the time there that I had. I have no regrets about it, but I was kind of burnt out from kind of trying to navigate all of that chaos of working in a private restaurant. And I came back thinking, I'm going to get a cushy job. I'm going to get a corporate job working at a retirement home or a hospital or something like that. And this just happened to fall into my plate. And yeah, it is. I have no words to express how amazing it is to be there, to be invested in. And it's something that I feel like we're overdue. I mean, we're overdue for it in the restaurant industry for sure, but this type of a company is kind of they're at the forefront of like what's going on, taking care of their staff. Happy staff means good work and productivity and whatnot. And so, like I said, it's not just the cafe. It's you can bring your pets to work. You can play in the arcade or go lift weights. Like, they have just all kinds of means to make people happy. And that ends up making an amazing company. And it is an amazing company. We've got, I don't even know the full stats of it. It's so overwhelming how many accolades we've got, but we're constantly getting voted top workplace to work. You know, we've got Google as a client. We've got eBay as a client. Like 65% of Fortune 500 companies, I think, was the number that they threw at me when I got hired there. 99.9% satisfaction and retention rate. And like, that's impressive. It's an impressive thing to do. And it's obviously, I imagine that it comes from studies of, take care of your people and they'll take care of you. And so it's just unbelievable. I have no words to.
Well, I think naysayers in the industry will say, well, that's a total different model and they make way more money and it's tech and all that. And I understand that.
Right.
That is true, 1,000%. However, the investment in people can take a lot of different shapes, but it's that you give a shit about investing in people first. It's your internal and external guests. So that buy-in and commitment needs to be the cornerstone. That's what I wanted to convey to people, how important it is, because I could just tell when he said, I'm getting paid, it was like, holy shit, man. Like, I'm getting paid right now. It's unbelievable because we have no expectation. We're kind of on our own island of misfit toys over here. So we're let's go to crafted food services, because you have a side hustle. You're doing these pop-up dinners, high-end super chefy stuff. You're doing some family meal type stuff. So you had that going already. I'm interested in that. You're also doing some consulting on a restaurant, which is now completely online. So again, hustle is the word of the day. You're grinding in multiple ways and thinking about that now, the people out there need to find creative ways to grind and hustle. I want them to just get a sense of what you're doing, how you're thinking about it, how you're navigating that, to be able to stay active in this time, because it's easy for us to dwell on what we don't have because we can't be in our restaurants right now.
Right. So a lot of it is, and it's just a mentality. It's a restaurant mentality, adapt or die. You know, most private restaurants, you don't have the luxury of having ideal equipment, ideal space. You know, they're making things work as best as they can. And somehow that just became a huge part of who I am. And I think the crafted food services came from having time to think about and want to do things that, as much as Workiva is an amazing job, there's still things that it doesn't provide for me in terms of, like, I can't be as creative and edgy and weird as I want to be, you know, and explore techniques. It's also kind of a high volume situation. You know, I'll go through, I had a salmon dish that I sold because it's like a hot bar with action stations, basically, is the way that it's set up. And so I would sell 55 portions of salmon in 15 minutes. Like, and you got to figure out how to make that happen because people are lined up for it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the growth that I've had has been simply from just putting myself out there. You know, I have the time and resources to donate my time. So for instance, this consulting job that I have going on, I'm writing the menu for a restaurant, and they're going to pay me to come out and train their staff on how to execute it. I've also, being the very proactive person that I am, written up lists of this is the equipment that you're going to need, how many spatulas and spoons and bowls and pots and pans and all that stuff. I've written master grocery lists for, like, hey, we got to get this all figured out, because I don't have the luxury of being able to go in there and checking in on them and being like, hey, is this here? Is this here? Is this here? It's like, no, this is what you need to do. I need you to do this before we can move forward. That came from donating my time. I had the resources to do things like that, and it's called the Harvest Fest, and it's a fundraiser for the Sustainable Agriculture Student Association at ISU. It's just a group of people that are all about sustainable agriculture. Obviously, it's something that I'm very passionate about, you know. And they, through a connection with a friend, they said, hey, we're doing this thing and we need chefs to, like, come prepare food for it. You'll get all the ingredients donated. You're basically just donating your time and energy. And I was like, yeah, all about it. And one of the gals from that SASA, that group, remembered me. And when she was going to open this restaurant, then reached out and said, hey, we want to pay you to write a menu for our restaurant and come out and train us and stuff. And it's like, holy, like, I wanted to get into consulting, but I have no idea how, because I am nobody in the culinary world. I've never been a sous chef or an executive chef or any kind of, like, management position. But I feel like I have, from working in restaurants, I understand how things work like that, you know? And, like, I feel like, yeah, just the way that I know that I want to be treated in terms of stuff like that. So I kind of do know my way, and I've been, so far, I have been the rock in this restaurant opening. She has told me multiple times, you're the only thing that I can count on being done on time and being, you know, because opening a restaurant is chaotic, and she hadn't done it before, so it's all new territory for her. But it's like, yeah, man, that proactivity and that doing the job right, setting yourself up for success, mise en place. Let's talk about mise en place. It's not how to get through service. It's your life, man. Get your shit together.
That's it. Jacob, man, we're going to hover over this for a while, because what you're talking right now is so fucking important. People have to listen to this. You built community. All you have right now, you don't have a personal brand name. You're not a big name chef, all those type of things. But that mentality and mindset work to your advantage, because you said, I have my time and I have my effort. And you put that out there in the world, and you built a little community, and through some talent, clearly, and that relationship building and some serendipity and timing, all of those things come into play. You now have a revenue stream, an income stream for yourself. This is something I want everybody to listen to. You are investing in yourself. Exactly. We don't invest in ourselves enough. Too often, as a line level, we are expecting our uplines, the sous chef, the chef, the owners, to be the conduit for us to get where we want to go. And there is some truth to that. And we need to take responsibility as leaders to give that value to the people at the line level. And sometimes we don't do enough of that. I have been guilty of that, spending too much time reading fucking article headlines about myself and not enough time with people and taking people for granted. Right, so I want people to really, really listen to what you're talking about right now, because it is everything. You also, as a line level person, need to take responsibility for yourself. And man, what you just said, like if everybody in our industry just took that little bit of time and effort, it's a completely different game.
Oh yeah, man.
A completely different game. Like, it's just, I don't even know how many other ways I can say it. Like, I just want to stop the episode right now and just have people, that was it. That's all you have to do is continue to put yourself out there. And I know that right now that seems an impossibility. Yet I bet there's 10 people out there that give a shit about you. Every single, whoever you are watching right now, there's 10 people that give a shit about you. Those 10 people know 10 other people who know 10 other people who are opening a restaurant, who still have the capital and are going to invest it because they know in 6 months, a lot of restaurants are going to close. There's going to be opportunities. There's always opportunities in downturns. So, man, I mean, let's keep talking, but I don't know what you're going to say after that, because that was the only thing that matters.
It's just the golden rule, man. How do you? I'm really introspective, so I lose sleep over thinking about all the interactions that I've had and things that I've said to people, and you have to kind of fake it until you make it, in a sense, and that be too polite, and then once you've done that for long enough, that becomes who you are. So yeah, man, golden rule.
I'm
not doing it. I'm not doing this for the money. When I think about my long-term, my kind of end game, I don't think about having a giant house and having super fancy cars. I'm a very reasonable person when it comes to what I need to survive. It's all about, like, and even within crafted food services, it's not about selling food. It's about selling a mentality. It's about making people aware of their surroundings. There's so many, just as an example, so many forageable foods growing on the sidewalks right now, purslane and what do you call it? I'm blanking right now.
Something delicious.
Wood sorrel grows everywhere. It's like, okay, you don't necessarily have to eat all of that, but just be aware that, like, there's things around that you don't know, and if you pay attention, it makes you love your situation so much more. A lot of people poo-poo on Iowa for being boring and not have anything to do, and it's like, get out and go for a walk, man. Like, there's so much, nature is amazing. There's so much stuff going on. There's so many small scale artisans and whatnot. Crafted food services is primarily about highlighting local people, like local businesses, local artisans. I've got a guy who made me these super amazing hand-carved wooden spoons that I'm going to use for family style service. He lives like a mile away from me. He lives like 5 blocks away. It's like, you wouldn't have freaking known that. He doesn't have a big storefront. He does it in his basement at his house. How many people are out there like that have skills that aren't being fully utilized? A lot of people compromise because you can't always make a living doing small scale artisanal stuff like that. So you get a job that you probably don't love as much, that doesn't fully fulfill you. But there's, everybody's got some sort of creative outlet that they'd want to get out there and do something. And it's like, we need to push those. That needs to be our primary. It's just making people happy is ultimately what it's about. Connecting people. You see all this polarized, especially right now in the country with the government and everything. There's pretty clearly defined lines drawn. And that's not good. If people knew that people are just people, no matter where you go, for the most part, people aren't evil. They're not trying to swindle you out of anything or screw you over. Then I feel like we would be much happier. There'd be a lot less anxiety, a lot less depression, and just making connections.
Yeah, connecting, building community clearly is that. We got hustle and building community, and those two things together are a magical recipe for sure. I think foraging is going to become highly popular. We're going to see a lot of foraging content and books, because what else are you going to do right now? For sure. Get out in nature and pay attention a little bit is advice that I need, being such a city boy myself, for sure. And so I want to touch on, again, I started a little bit with what I'm doing, and I want to just give people this. And I thought talking to you was a great opportunity, because hell, I want you to do this as well, because I just want people to hustle and also have some therapy. So literally what we started doing right before this dropped, when coronavirus was becoming a thing, Betsy watched an article that said something about, do you have 2 weeks worth of food? And she asked me, I was like, we got like months worth of food. I got 2 freezers full of stuff because I can't make a batch for 4 people. I make a batch for 10 people. Minimum, right? I'm making bone broth. And she asked me a very important question. She said, could we do that for other people? And I was like, hell yes, we can. Let's do it. Community. So we started making it, and we were giving it to neighbors and giving it out to her mom groups and things like that. And then 3, 4, 5 days later, everything I had lined up for the next 4 months of projects gone, like that, gone, right? And so all of a sudden I go, oh, I got to make big batches of this. And we already have a little Facebook group that's got 100 people in it that actually kind of care. We're adding value to that group. We do daily little videos on what we're making. And I'm like, here's how to properly wash rice, which I'm challenging you, Jake. I better see a video from you on how to season properly coming up lickety split. But that's what we're doing. And then now I have, I just delied up 18 delis of Thai curry. We ask for suggested donations because we are not a licensed business. We are just supporting our neighbors in our small little community. So be smart about that. Suggested donations and an $11 deli of curry that people are gracious enough to donate to us.
Sure.
People donated $1,000 last week. $1,000.
Dude, that's crazy.
And selling, like grinding, just entrepreneurial. Like I love that. That pays the bills.
Yeah.
So I want people to hear that. And I know that you're going to have that same mentality and put value out into the ecosystem. And so when you're thinking about that, when you're thinking about the videos, the content for crafted food services, because you cannot get in front of people, where does your brain go as far as how you can continue to serve that community and grow that community in this time?
It's just all about making people, the broad answer is making people happy. And so in that particular scope is, how can you make people happy cooking at home when that's pretty much the only option you've got right now? There's a lot of takeout places you can get, but your waistline can only suffer from that for so long before you start to feel, whatever.
I was doing a lot of chips and dips early on. That was a little rough on my midsection before I started meal planning again.
Yeah, for sure. No. But ultimately, it's about just making people more comfortable cooking at home and understanding what they're doing. People don't know how to cook, and they don't understand a lot of basic things. And it's unfortunate that that's not something that is automatically instilled upon them, coming up as a child or whatever. But that's ultimately what I'm trying to do with that branch of crafted food services, is like understanding just how to properly season something and how to taste redundant for like vegetables and stuff. How many people hate Brussels sprouts and hate broccoli and whatever? It's just, well, don't overcook it. Cook it properly, and it's amazing. I can't tell you, that's the best compliment that I get at Workiva is, well, I didn't like mushrooms before, but whatever you did to them, I liked them. Or I didn't like fish before, but whatever you did to it, I liked it. It's like, yeah, you just haven't had it the right way. I jokingly say, I can put enough bacon on something to get you to eat it.
Yeah, sure.
That's kind of a cheap cop out, but no, just understanding how to properly season something, how to taste something. Tasting is bean dip or something like that. They're great, but like they've got no flavor and they've got no texture to them. So cook them yourself. It's cheap. It's super cheap. The amount of food you can get from a bag of beans, a 1 pound bag of beans that costs $1.39, and then, well, what else can you do with it? You can put it in soup. You can make like refried beans or borracho beans with it or whatever. Just understanding how to cook, like feeling comfortable, having a firm grasp on the basics is like what I want people to get out of cooking for themselves. Because once you can do that, if you know how to season something properly, then that literally opens up every possible, like you're just going to eat so much better just knowing how to do that.
Yeah, and think about making that video and 7 people go, oh, that was awesome, and ask you one follow-up question. That's the nucleus for the relationship that leads to the consulting job in Omaha, Nebraska for you. Exactly. That's it. Like you just have to play the long game a little bit, which is a challenge because in our industry, we're so instant gratification.
Yep.
I make a dish, we sell the dish, they eat the dish, we're done. We're only as good as our last plate. Yeah. Strengthen that thinking, and there is some challenges in that thinking because we don't think past the next plate too often.
Right.
And so I want that for you, for everybody. The same thing happened. Betsy said, we did a video showing that we were having curry for dinner, and somebody texted Betsy and said, can we get the recipe? Or Messenger in the group said, can we get that recipe or how to make it? I was like, absolutely. So she sent them the ingredient list, and I was like, just put a video on me. And she's like, all right, 3 minutes, tell them how to make curry. I literally walked them through the recipe for my process of doing a Thai curry. That person is going to make Thai curry. There's going to be a moment later in time where that person will connect me with somebody else who then invests $1 million into a company.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to make it for a dinner party because it's a new thing that they haven't had, you know, exactly. One of my favorite tricks that I like, I have kind of some things in my back pocket I like to use when people are asking about doing cooking lessons. And one of my things I like to figure out is how to work in like celery, because people don't peel celery and they don't get that taking the fibers out. Holy smokes. I get feedback months later. Like I was showing people how to peel celery. It's the coolest thing. I was blowing everybody's mind. And it's like, yeah,
that's it.
Thing. Right? And my grandmother asked me that. She goes, oh, I have problems. She's pushing 90 and I think has dentures and can't have celery because of the fibers. I was like, check this out, Grandma. And literally took a butter knife and peeled that off. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen something like that before. No idea. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. I like never eat celery, and now I'm totally gonna eat some celery. I'm just gonna peel some celery and be like, it is much better. I still don't love it, but it's much better right now.
Yeah, and you know, invest in yourself. And talking about investing in yourself, that's a big thing I want to push too. A lot of what comes from the cooking lessons is it's not just how to cook; it's also the equipment. It's where to get the ingredients. It's if you want to get spices, this is the place to get spices. If you want to get fresh fish, this is the place to get fish. You know, buy yourself some toys. I have a dehydrator. I love that thing, man. It's awesome. Like, hey, I've got some grapes that are like maybe not the best for eating anymore. Store them in the dehydrator. Make some raisins, and then
I got some raisins downstairs right now.
Like, how badass is that? It's not quite the same because the raisins are made from grapes that have thinner skin. So the ones that I made are a little bit chewier, but like not in a bad way. Like it's kind of like eating candy almost.
I love it. You know what's going to be interesting coming out of this now that we have to be at home is sometimes as chefs we forget that other people don't know some of the basics or don't have all the equipment or things like that. So I've even been thinking about the 1-pan pickup because I'm great at the 3-pan pickup.
Right.
I suck at the 1-pan pickup, but now I'm doing all the dishes. I'm like getting the groceries, all of it. So now I'm thinking about that. Even the other day I did some pho with broccoli rabe, which I love.
Sure.
And I'm like, Jensen, nobody knows the fuck broccoli rabe is. Nobody knows where to get that or what to do with it. It doesn't understand how to handle flowerets and leaves versus stems.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? You know what you probably have is some broccoli flowerets in your freezer. Feel free to use those in exactly the same way that I just showed you. And here's how to use 1-pan. Those 2 unlocks have made a big difference for me trying to inspire and influence others to cook, because sometimes I'm like, check out this cool shit I can do, and people are like,
right,
yeah, I don't know how to do that.
But it does. But that's the thing is like the term I use is like it's not going to scramble. It's because if you scramble like an egg custard, then there's not much you can do to save that. So like, hey, if you don't have broccoli rabe, put some kale in there. It's not going to scramble. It's not going to ruin the recipe. You have to understand that most recipes are pretty adaptable to whatever you've got on hand. You know.
I hear that. I love it, man. I love the energy, the positivity for sure. I'm excited to see where crafted food services go because I know you're going to continue to innovate and adapt because that's what we do in restaurants. Give us a couple playlist items. We always like to have a little positivity, something for us to feast on, something you're eating, drinking, watching, listening to, anything that we can do to occupy our time as we have entirely too much time on our hands.
Well, I've been training for the introvert Olympics for my whole life. So like I'm happier than a pig in shit right now. I've got plenty of things to do, but obviously there's lots of great stuff on Netflix. Tiger King, if you haven't watched yet, I don't know why you haven't done that yet because it's amazing.
Is it as batshit as it's seeming?
Dude, it is unbelievable. Have you not watched it yet?
I have not watched it yet.
I've seen Fire Festival and I've seen whatever all the other crazy docuseries about all these cults and stuff, and this is by far the craziest one. It's just like a snowball rolling down a hill that doesn't stop until the end.
I just needed you to tell me I had to watch it.
One of my favorite just kind of easy snacks is popcorn. I have an air popper. Go out and get yourself a $15 air popper and make yourself some popcorn. And I thought it would be fun for like kids too, because you can get peanut butter powder at the grocery store now. You can make yourself like a cocoa powder and sugar thing and make like a chocolate popcorn if you want. There's cheese powder in the grocery stores and stuff. Like, have a popcorn party, man. Like, pop up popcorn. It's especially with the air popper. It's stupid easy how easy you can make a bunch of popcorn with it, and it's like super mess free, and I love it. As far as music goes, I mean, I'm kind of a musician. I come from a musical family, so there's a lot. I've been listening to like John Prine lately, especially. I'm glad to hear he's like over the hump with his battle with COVID.
He is on the recovery path because I heard he was sick.
His wife announced yesterday that he's in stable condition now. So like,
he is my in-law's like favorite artist, and my father-in-law plays the guitar, and every single song he writes sounds exactly like a John Prine song. He's got one melody, and it's John Prine 100%. Right. That's awesome. Great to hear.
There's obviously great podcasts for the chefy type guys. If you haven't gotten into Andrew Talks to Chefs, that is an amazing podcast. Andrew is an incredible interviewer, and he gets incredible guests on there. And it's even, you get the top tier Massimo Bottura and Magnus Nilsson, as well as the small time guys. I can't even think of any of their names right now. There's like 100 episodes I've listened to, but that's an awesome show if you want to hear some backstory on where people come from and why they do what they do.
Yes.
So love that. What the heck else? Yeah, I mean, I've been playing a lot of Diablo too. Believe it or not. I've been doing yoga right now. Down Dog is a yoga app.
All right.
It's pretty awesome, and they are free. It's usually a $30 a year subscription, but through April, it's free. So if you can get your fitness on and invest in yourself a little bit, take care of yourself. The yoga comes from last December. I threw up my back from washing dishes. Like, I couldn't walk for 5 days, and it's because I haven't been taking care of myself. Because, restaurant life is hard. You're busy, you're on your feet, it's very physical. You're usually exhausted by the end of it. You got to take care of yourself. I'm 31 years old, and I was knocked on my ass for 5 days because I don't stretch, basically. So now's a great time to start a yoga habit if you haven't already, because you can do it with this app. Yeah, those are kind of the main things I've been doing.
Perfect. We're going to talk about stuff like that a lot more. Even I'm on a meditation app for the last 7-8 months called Stop, Breathe, and Think. I was like, that is perfect. That's literally what I have to do.
Yeah.
Just slow down.
It's hard to slow your brain down.
That's a challenge for me. I just do counting. I literally count to 10 for 8 minutes straight, just to quiet my mind a little bit. But we don't do that. We don't take care of ourselves enough, and that's super important. So,
very much.
Jacob, I am glad that you're doing well. I love the energy, the positivity, the hustle. I love that we got to talk about investing in people, because that's going to be a major conversation moving forward, coming out of this, when we start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man. It was awesome. Had a lot of fun.
All right. You have a great day. Be good.
You too.
The positivity, the energy is amazing. Jacob Schroeder, unbelievable guy. When he talked about investing his time, donating his time, I was not surprised at all, because he was out here in Denver. I was going out to Iowa, where a lot of you know that my uncles own multiple restaurants. I worked out there for years. My wife, Betsy, she's a Cyclone from Ames, Iowa. So I have a special place in my heart for Iowa, for Ames especially. It's been a lot of my formative years getting into trouble out there, and my first real kitchen jobs. So we went out there and did some brewed food events, and it was right around the time that Jacob was moving from Des Moines to Ames. He was getting a job at Workiva, which the chef Kevin Terrell, amazingly talented chef, got his bones working out in Vegas for Emeril Lagasse, super talented guy, is still the chef at Workiva, and we did some events there. So he got to do an event with us out here with brewed food, then went out there. So anyway, just that donation of himself, his passion, his time, his effort has clearly led to the opportunity for him to be in a good position right now. So think about that as you are investing, because the serendipity of doing good shit for people, it always pays off. Appreciate you guys for watching. To actually, here in about half an hour, I'm going to be doing a second episode today. We actually have a second episode today, Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Busy week, 9 episodes this week, 9 guests. So later on in a little bit here at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, that's 1 o'clock on the East and 10 a.m. on the West, I'm going to have Tori McPhail, the unbelievably talented Tori McPhail of the iconic Commander's Palace in New Orleans, Louisiana, is going to be on. We're going to talk a little bit with him. And then tomorrow we got 2 episodes in the morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. We're going to have Brandon Muncie, who's a chef at the Dressing Room in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as Mariko Gifford, who will be on at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. She is with Moringa for Life in Vista, California, as well as being my mother. And she is my wellness guru. We're going to talk about wellness because, to the point Jacob made, we do not take good care of ourselves. I have done everything I can to destroy my body over the years. And so she's been a big reason that I'm on the meditation app, that I'm doing a lot of the wellness things. We're going to talk about that because I think it's time for us to reset, slow down in this industry where we run through walls after walls after walls, and take care of ourselves a little bit. It's a huge opportunity to create some balance coming out of this. So I'm excited about that. Tune back in here in a little bit. We're going to take a little break and have Tori McPhail on. And then tomorrow, a couple great shows as well. Thank you as always. I appreciate you. Be safe, be well,